Hi, and welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. I'm going to be talking about a Netflix original South Korean series. The first two episodes are up. There's 16 episodes in total. They come out on Saturdays and Sundays. They're over an hour long. I'm very excited to talk about this series. However, get down in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about this. Are you excited? If you enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. It does help. I hate asking for comments and likes, but it is a YouTube analytics thing, so it does help. So if you like the Ruby Tuesday, please do that. But for now, let's jump into the review. Based on a webtoon, the series tells the story of demon hunters with special abilities called counters, who have come to the Earth posing as employees of a noodle restaurant in order to capture evil spirits. Now that description doesn't really quite do it justice, so I'm going to try and do a little better. We have a noodle shop. We have three main protagonists that wear these really cool red jumpsuits. Looks like they're about to do a sporting event, and they were all in a coma. They were basically possessed by a spirit. Obviously they were asked for permission. As a reward, you get to live again on the earth, but you have to help us defeat spirits that have turned evil, and capture them and stop them from doing harm to others. So that is these guys. And then we have our main protagonist, who's a student at a high school. And he has the opening of this first episode is pretty harsh. It's pretty dark. It's more gory than I'm used to for these type of series, the soap type of drama series that there are a lot of on Netflix now, but there are a lot of in general. When it comes to series like this, I have a love-hate relationship with them. You kind of got to get used to the comedy and the tone that they go for. The comedy is very wacky. And you do have that in this, but I feel like there's a balance that they create in this series that's very good. So you have really dark themes that they go for. You'll be surprised at some of the themes that they do. They don't skimp on some of the blood and gore, and that all looks real. And then you have the special effects that can be quite cheesy, and the comedy that is just bizarre. It feels like if you were watching an American series, it wouldn't be in the right place. However, it's not an American series, it's South Korean, and the balance that they've caught, they've kind of that the writing, the creators have thrust upon into this series, the balance of that, I feel like that works really well. Anyway, back to our protagonist. Our protagonist, young student, something happens to him when he's young, and then it skips a few years, and we see him have to basically become an uncanny counter. And so the first two episodes kind of deal with him being thrust into this world, kind of a very Blue Exorcist like. It definitely reminds me of anime and manga, which is why it has the right feel, because obviously it's a webtoon, but it definitely feels like I'm watching a live adaptation of a manga or anime series, and it's not bad, which is a miracle in itself, because usually when you get adaptations from anime or manga, especially if it's Americanized, it just doesn't translate well, or they leave out so much that the fans just can't get to grips with what they're being sold. It's just not nearly as good. It's not normally as good as the original writings, but in rare cases you find something like this. And so far, the two episodes I loved. I was very surprised. Yesterday I watched a whole bunch of content that I've got reviews coming out for, that I was just like, is there any good content anymore? Because I expected it all to be glorious. So today I was kind of a bit down in the dumps, like, I'm going to have to watch a bunch of stuff that's just going to be crappy again. Please let this be good. And so maybe I came in with a lower expectation, but I don't think so. I think it is just fun. It does what you expect it to do. So you have this amalgamation of genres. You have Krav Maga sort of martial arts mixture like, and then that's mixed in with a bit of parkour. There's a lot of running and jumping and slow-mo effects, and you expect that in this type of series, but the way it's put together, you get to see it. It isn't fastly cut, so you don't get to see some of the martial arts and the fight sequences. When there is some levity needed, they do add that in. I feel like all the protagonists already in the episode 1 and 2, they've been given a decent amount of backstory already, so you're starting to piece together what's happened to them. Not all, but we're starting to understand what makes them tick, why they're part of this group. Actually, we're starting to feel more for those characters just a little bit, and I was surprised by that, because normally when you have 16 hours worth, they take a while to kind of give you backstory. It does feel like they pack a hell of a lot in, even though they've got an hour to deal with this. Well, over now for the first episode. They are packing a lot in with history for our main protagonist, with history for our other protagonists, what this whole organization is about. There are a lot of series like this, and so I was like, ugh, another one of these. Is this going to do anything different? And for the most part, it kind of does tick all the boxes, but the way it's executed is a lot of fun. The score again is it jumps from comedic, light-hearted tones when there's the comedy, funny, sketchy stuff that you're like, what is this? And then it changes to what you'd expect when they're doing action or kind of dramatic scenes. I was emotionally engaged with the characters because some of the stuff, like I said, the darker themes, the injuries that one has to go through. Our protagonist has a grandmother that's her memory is not what it used to be, basically doesn't remember him. Our main protagonist has an injured leg, and there's all of this. There's bullying, and so they really do deal with some dark themes, and they don't shy away from it. If they just kind of show it how it is, and obviously it's embellished somewhat for the TV series, but for the most part, it's really entertaining, and I'm really looking forward to watching the next episodes. I'm kind of gutted that we don't get them all at once. Sometimes Netflix does that, their original series, they just dump all of it. I guess they bought the license for this, and so now they have to do it 2 episodes at a time, as is standard with this type of series. Yeah, so do let me know in the comments which is your favorite type of series like this. So far, I've really enjoyed this. There's been a few good ones on Netflix and a few not so good ones. Some just go down the cheesy route, and it's sometimes too much to handle, and you kind of have to give yourself a break, which is why it's good that you get that week space. Sometimes, however, you get series like this that are just a lot of fun. I've seen a few low scores for this, which I'm guessing those people aren't used to this type of series. I personally would rate it up there like 7, 8. So I'm going to give this a B+, A-. I'm, kind of there. I will give it a whole season review once I've watched all the episodes and really kind of go more into depth. So suffice to say, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very good, it's well put together. Score, acting, protagonists, all believable in this world, in this kind of fantasy world where kids have powers. We have obviously the montages that is part and parcel when a new character has been given abilities. Each character or each uncanny gets, or each counter gets an ability, but they have to kind of figure out what their abilities are. So there's unique abilities, which I think they showcase very well. I like the special effects. I like the references to other things around the world, so it makes it feel like it has a wider audience, which I think is a clever way to go, rather than just making it totally in this one culture. There are things that they reference that go on around the world that kind of makes it feel like they're catering to a wider audience, and I hope it does get a bigger audience, because I think it deserves that. So chat to me in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about these first 2 episodes. I'm excited to see the rest. I'm hoping that it's going to go in the directions I want it to go, because I think it has a lot of scope for a decent story, very similar to Blue Exorcist or Demon Hunter, that kind of anime storyline. But we'll see what they do with it. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.